The City of Long Beach held Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Bear with me one second here. We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Bendo.
Present.
Councilmember Lester.
Here.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Here.
Vice President Fiamara.
Here.
President Finn.
Present.
Let the record indicate the presence of Acting City Manager Phil Regona and Corporation Counsel Frank DeCranis. I'm sorry I didn't update the slide. We'll now have a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for coming out to our meeting. It almost seems like spring might be coming soon. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Dan Creighton, our city manager, who had surgery last week, and he's convalescing very well, and obviously not listening to his doctor or his supervisor, but here he is, right? But we wish him well, and he's really doing well, so glad to see you here, Dan. Thanks. And obviously in his stead is Phil Regona, who I think lives in Long Beach more than he ever lived in his real town. But so Phil's going to give us the city manager report. Thank you for stepping in, Phil. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Oh, turn on.
I don't give up your real town, by the way.
It's my pleasure and my honor to be here tonight. Our city manager is in the audience, and I have big shoes to fill, so I'll do my best to do that. Good evening, and thank everyone for being here tonight. It's certainly nice to see you all. I'd like to start off by wishing everyone a happy Passover and a happy Easter to those who observe. Firstly, I just want to bring up an incident that occurred a week ago Monday. April 7th, last Monday, at about 2:15 in the morning, for those who don't know, a transformer blew in front of City Hall. With that, we lost all power and our generator failed. So it wasn't just that the building was dark, but in fact, our police and our fire were disrupted. We had some electricity in the OEM for the PD, but it really was an emergency situation. We all got together. They say it takes a village. Well, it really took a city because everybody came together. Our CSEA members, our police department, our fire department, our volunteers, our part-time workers. They all showed up about 2:30 in the morning, and they were out here working feverishly to get our police department and our fire department up and running, to dispatch cars, to dispatch fire trucks, etc. And I have to tell you, in my 39 years working here for the city of Long Beach, I have to say I've never been prouder and more honored to work alongside each and every one of these members. We got power running, kind of jerry-rigged everything, but we got it up and running. There was no disruption in the police service, the fire service. We work with PSE&G, and it was a 15 or 16-hour issue until we finally got a transformer put in. So I want to say it was probably one of the proudest moments I've had working for the city, working alongside my colleagues, and thank you all for everything you do. People don't see that, but it was outstanding. So thank you, and you deserve a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, I'd like to thank our Parks and Recreation team. They pulled off another successful Easter egg hunt. They had to shift the event to Sunday because of the poor weather that we had on Saturday, but it was well attended, full of smiles. The Easter Bunny was out there doing his or her thing, and it was wonderful. So thank you to the rec department. Next week, there'll be a number of events in recognition of Earth Week. Long Beach Cleanup will be doing the beach cleanup at Lafayette on the beach at 2 p.m. on Saturday the 19th. And on the following Saturday, April 26th, there'll be our annual Community Recycling Day. We will hold free paper shredding, and electronic recycling for our residents. That will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in front of City Hall. If you attend this, please enter off Park onto Center to attend those events. Concurrently, there'll be a small Earth Day event from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Kennedy Plaza. Our city's Environmental Advisory Board and Arts Council will be joined by the Artisan Partnership and Long Beach Cleanup for music, kids' crafts, and information sharings. So please feel free to attend that. Last but not least on our Earth Day events, on April 26th, Long Beach Aware will be partnering with our police department for a drug take-back program from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., also in front of City Hall. If you have any issues or concerns or questions in regards to what to bring there, please go on to longbeachny.gov and look it up, and it'll explain what items you could bring to the drug take-back. On Sunday, April 27th, our city will be partnering with the town of Hempstead to conduct the Stop Throwing Out Pollutants program behind City Hall. That'll occur from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. This program will allow our residents to safely dispose of household hazardous materials. And for more on this program and a listing of what materials are accepted, please visit longbeachny.gov/stop. On other fronts, the city manager's proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 and 2026 was transmitted to the City Council this past Friday. It'll be made available to the public via our city's website by close of business this Thursday, April 17th. We'll discuss hearing dates and other related matters to the budget as part of the fourth item on tonight's agenda. By way of a public service announcement, please be advised that the eastbound lanes of Beach Street, West Beach Street, between New York and Grand Boulevard will be closed this week to facilitate the installation of a new gas main. It is being done this week to minimize interruptions and disruptions as the schools are out for the spring break. The westbound lane between New York and Grand will remain open, as will New York Avenue, so we hope the impact is minimal to our residents. Lastly, I want to offer my sincere and true condolences and prayers to the family and friends of the gentleman who passed away Saturday evening after being struck by an electronic bicycle crossing Park Avenue. While this incident remains under investigation by both the Nassau County Police Department Homicide Squad and our City of Long Beach Detective Division, I can't really comment much further on that. It just truly is a tragic incident, and I hope it reminds all motor vehicle users to use caution and safety while operating their vehicles. Again, all of our true and sincere condolences and prayers to those impacted by this tragic loss. And that concludes my city manager's report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. We'll get on to the agenda.
Okay. And once again, item 3 has been taken off the calendar. Item 1 is a resolution declaring a temporary moratorium on the establishment of battery energy storage systems in the city of Long Beach.
I guess I'll tackle this one since it was my resolution.
Yeah, there's a problem with one of the mics. I haven't been able to trace down which one it is. So, no.
Yours is off?
No, I thought it was that one, but I unplugged it. It's unplugged, so it doesn't. Yeah, that's usually the one that it is. I'm not sure which one it's coming from.
Well, why don't we turn them all off, and then we'll see if it's not the mics.
Turn it off.
Is it that mic?
Yeah, it could be.
What do you?
Now we have no sound now.
Yours is on, Frank.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
There it is. Switch out the cord.
All right. I don't need a mic. I've been told that by a few people who are watching on TV.
Yeah, I know, it's still going.
Did you unplug it? On the soundboard?
Should we cancel the meeting due to technical difficulties?
We gotta move the meeting to Brighton.
That's true. Good meet on Zoom with that guy.
Someone at the planning board did this, right?
Environmental.
Planning. How about now? Sounds like it might be Hello? Hello?
There you go.
Let's see.
All right. Good job, Dave.
John, you
Now you just can't leave.
All right, so I guess I'll tackle the first item since I asked the staff to prepare this resolution. So as people are aware, New York has set up some aggressive green energy goals with renewables, and as part of renewables, one of the components to make the grid more stable is to put in battery energy storage systems. So battery energy storage systems basically take the excess electricity that's generated when it's not all needed, stores it, and then when more electricity is needed, the batteries discharge it to provide electricity. The issue is with battery energy storage systems, there have been issues with the technology. It uses lithium-ion batteries, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard the term thermal runaway with lithium-ion batteries. You've seen stories about batteries on e-bikes catching fire or on tools that use batteries. And there have been some high-profile fires at battery energy storage facilities here in New York and in California and some other places. The issue with the battery energy storage systems is when a fire starts, you can't put it out. It basically has to burn itself out. And they've had them in California, one burned for several days, it went out, and then it reignited a few days later. They release toxic fumes and chemicals when they burn. And so the issue here is that we haven't done an analysis to determine if our fire department has the adequate equipment and training to deal with something like this, should it be put in Long Beach. Now, I think to all our knowledge, none is being proposed at the moment for Long Beach, but everybody around us has passed moratoriums on battery energy storage systems. Hempstead, the town of Hempstead, town of North Hempstead, Oyster Bay, many of the towns out in Suffolk County. In fact, many of them have not only passed them, but are on their third renewal of them. So it left us also a little vulnerable that we don't have a moratorium in place, especially again, when we don't even know if we have the capabilities of dealing with one of these here. So what this resolution does is it puts a temporary one-year moratorium on battery energy storage systems here in Long Beach so that we could determine if we need to update zoning or things like that to accommodate these. Again, we're in a little different situation too than some of the other towns that have more open space. Obviously, we have a different issue here. We have very little open space. So should one be put here, it's going to be in proximity to homes. And and that's been problematic because some of the previous fires that have occurred have led to evacuations of homes for days. So this is a temporary moratorium so the city could figure out if it needs to make any changes in our zoning or other rules to accommodate this. And I guess...
Okay, so any other questions from the council?
No, just a comment. This is obviously a terrible idea for Long Beach. It's, not only are we a flood zone, it's salt air. In no way would this, fires, metals emit into the air, into the water. It's going to affect our residents. It's going to affect the water. So while we pass this moratorium, the idea is, in conjunction with the moratorium, we are going to look for ways to zone and possibly permanently ban these BESS systems for Long Beach. So just to let everybody know, that's going on in conjunction with this year ban that we're proposing tonight.
Okay. Any comments from the public? All right, thank you. Yes? No, sorry. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the viewers at home can't hear you from back there.
I just want to know where, Aggie Box,
Hi.
630 Shore Road,
How are you?
where will the energy storage system be placed? I mean, even though it won't be a good idea anywhere. but-
None of...
It's not, this is a moratorium, so they won't do that. There's no plan for it at this time.
This is preemptive.
Yeah, it's a preemptive strike.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do they know what size of this store, if they should happen to?
No, this is-
No particulars, we don't know any particulars.
Right, I don't really even know if they would want to put it on an island like this for a lot of reasons, but based on that, there's no plan for it. So, not to alarm anybody, this is really preventive, preventive.
So just talking in advance, just in case.
Getting
Yes.
ahead.
Right.
This would
Getting ahead of
preclude
it.
anyone from even filing an application for
Right.
one.
Okay, all right.
So what it does is it basically puts a stop sign up for anybody to even apply to put one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Any other comments from the public? All right, thank you. We'll close that one.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase various T-shirts and athletic apparel with imprints from the lowest responsible bidders.
So in another sign that summer is just around the corner, this item is our annual authorization for the city manager to purchase T-shirts, athletic apparel from the lowest responsible bidder. These items include, amongst other things, race and camp shirts, as well as lifeguard uniforms. We had a total of 10 companies bid on these items, and we are recommending making an award to 7 who were the lowest responsible bidders for each item. On balance, the cost came in lower than last year and should result in the overall savings. Commissioner Brand is here if anybody has any further questions in regards.
Okay, we'll start with the council. You have a question, Roy?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Joe, I've brought this up over the years. When you look at the resolution, we're talking about an awful lot of shirts, but I know you don't order that many. I mean, we're talking about 6,000 or 7,000 shirts in here. How many did we actually order last year?
1,745.
Okay. Much better than 7,000. Thank you.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
And you have that because that's the units that they need to be able to quote, right?
Yeah, you have to give them an approximate number for them to quote out, from their perspective, whether or not it's going to be a worthwhile bid for them to put in. Mike, you saw firsthand last year what we do with the shirts. You were doing a walkthrough when we were getting ready for summer camp, pull out all the boxes of stuff that's left over. The order starts at 800, and I think by the time we were done, the order was like 330, so.
And it was less this past year than it was in previous
Yeah,
years, right?
and I mean, just, my assistant Sarah was nice enough to put something together for me just today with regard to the order for the upcoming 10-mile race. So, gave me a copy of last year's order, was over $2,100. With the award of this agenda item tonight, that same order is going to be more than $1,000 cheaper. $1,035 cheaper. We did real well with pricing this year, which is an encouraging sign because they were going higher and higher and higher, so.
Great, thank you.
You got a question, John?
Yeah. There was some new items on the list this year compared to last. I know you may not order the full number, but there was 175 swim parkers at a cost of $66 each. What are those? Those weren't there before.
Would you say parkers?
Swim parkers.
For lifeguards.
What?
I would assume those are for the lifeguards.
Okay, because it's a new item. It wasn't on last year. And then there were some new, I guess I'll say, runs of only 8 or 10 of certain things as well. What are those, for supervisors typically or something?
It could be. Some of their stuff is issued every other year, so that it may be just a question of they're filling in, backfilling some people that might be new this year.
Okay.
But I know, in their contract, certain items are awarded every other year as opposed to every year.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, I'm sorry. There's swim parkers. Are they given out every year to the lifeguards?
No.
How long?
I believe that's in every other year. I'll check with Chief Borowski, though.
Every other year?
I believe so.
How about long trunks, Joe?
We want trunks every year.
So like 1745 was ordered last year. Have you ever gone to the max on this?
No.
Right. This is just a
No.
guideline, right?
Look, and understand something. If we did have to go to the max on this, it would probably mean a really good thing, that I needed 200 or 300 counselors, or I needed more staff because business was that good. So,
Right.
it's
Okay.
bid at the high end. This would be the most that we would order.
Yeah, right.
And then it's all based on participation
Need. Okay,
numbers, really,
right, okay.
and staffing numbers.
Joe, one more question. I'm not sure if you know. How many of these are made in China?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do we have any questions from the public? Comments? Thank you very much, Joe.
Okay. Item 3 has been taken off the calendar. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing publication of the general summary of the capital improvement program for the next 5 years and authorizing publication of the general summary of the proposed budget for year July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and notice of public hearings thereon.
So this is an annual resolution which sets the dates and times of the public hearings associated with proposed budget and capital improvement plans. I'll hand it off to our city clerk, Dave Frazier, to go through the details. Dave?
Yes, so I'll go through the entire budget schedule as it is laid out in the city charter. As Phil mentioned during his manager's report, the budget was delivered to the city council on the 10th. It then goes out to the public. It's due to go out to the public on this Thursday on the 17th. Our first public hearing for the budget is going to be on Tuesday, May 6th at 7 p.m. We will then have the second hearing on the budget and the first hearing on the capital plan budget on Tuesday, the 20th at 7 p.m. At that point, it could either be voted on, or if it is still not settled, we have built into the schedule a special meeting if necessary, which would be on the 27th at 7 p.m. And just as a reminder, the budget is due by charter to be, needs to be ratified by the 31st of May.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Since it's an article for publication only, then we'll close the item.
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an amended and restated agreement with Passport Labs Incorporated.
So on this item, Passport Labs is the collection service that we utilize, or the City of Long Beach Police Department utilizes for collection of parking violation summonses. The PD has been using Passport Labs since 2008 and would normally request a 3-year extension to continue using them to collect the parking violations. However, they believe they'll be able to absorb this function into newly implemented record management system, which they're in the process of putting in place right now. So at this time, they're only requesting a 1-year extension for this service. Commissioner DePalma, if you could step up if anyone has any questions in regards to Passport Labs.
We have questions? John?
Sure. The resolution says the agreement, it's an amended agreement. What was changed, other than the dates, obviously? Was there anything else changed?
Yeah, there was some, the revenue share was changed, as well as they're giving us some equipment.
Okay, so the revenue share, hang on, I got it here, is 12.5% in this. What was
Correct.
it before?
It was 8.5%, which is a 4% increase.
So they're going up 50%?
They're going up 4%. Yeah, and they are giving us about $21,000 in equipment. And last year we collected about $406,000 in parking fees, and if you take 4% of that, it's about $16,000. So we're actually making out of the deal.
Do they do a good job collecting for us?
We've been with them since 2008, so yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Rich?
Yes, sir.
When we send it out for collection, though, they get 35% of that? When they send it out for collection?
When it goes to collections, yes. We signed that agreement in about, I think, 22.
Right, yeah, that hasn't changed.
That has not changed.
No. But do the people that actually do the collection, do they take it from the company, or do they get a separate amount for their collection? In other words, they don't do the collecting themselves. They send it out.
Yeah, and they take 35% of the collections to pay for their third-party vendor.
It pays for the third-party vendor and pays for the...
Correct, yeah.
For them, okay. So it's maxed at 35%. And they also give us 9, or they're going to give us 9 handhelds?
Yeah, they're going to give us an additional, I want to say 12 handhelds and 10 printers.
Okay, and are those handhelds guaranteed, or...
Yeah, if we break them, basically, we have to pay for them, but if it's normal wear and tear, they'll fix them for us.
And that's $1,600 each?
I'm sorry? If we...
$1,610, I think?
I think at $1,100, let me get the exact... Oh, no, it's $1,165 each of the handheld unit, and the printers that go along with them are $750 each.
Okay, and right now it says that we have 8 of them, but only 6 are in working condition.
Correct.
Was that something we broke, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike?
Go ahead, Chris. The handheld readers are credit card readers?
No, they're summons writers. So basically,
Okay,
yeah, you can digitally write summons digitally, scan the registrations, and take a picture of the violation itself.
Got it, thank you.
Mike?
So now with the new systems that we're implementing, so 2 years from now, we will be able to do it somewhat on our own?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is for us to take this over, which is why we shorten the contract.
Right, so so this is really good news. We're shortening this contract to 1 year when I believe usually they were 2 or 3 years?
3 years, yes.
3 years. So usually it's 3 years. We're shortening it to 1 year because of our updated systems. We'll be able to do it on our own, so we won't be paying the VIG.
Correct. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So the 12.5% is for state of New York and out-of-state parking ticket collections.
Correct.
The 35% is what?
Is when it goes into collections itself. So basically, the people that don't pay their tickets, that they take 35%
Right.
in order to get that money back.
Yeah. Is that industry standard, that percentage?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, okay. All right, thank you.
And that number's also been our We agreed to that number back in, I want to say 22, for the 35%.
It has stayed the same since then?
Yes,
Right, and I guess it probably was industry standard at that time?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, one question.
Oh, you have another one?
Rich, yeah,
Okay.
when we take it over, will we be doing the collecting too, the delinquents?
Either, yeah, we're going to try, absolutely. That's the plan.
We
That's the
would do.
plan, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
All right, thanks.
you're welcome.
We have questions from the public, comments from the public? All right, thank you very much, Commissioner.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreements for secret consulting services with the most responsible proposers.
So, excuse me. On this item, the city and our zoning board of appeals has had on retainer an outside firm to perform services related to the state Environmental Quality Review Act for projects that require them. The firm that we're currently using is expiring, so we issued an RFP for new services, including for the newly created planning board. 6 firms responded, and we were recommending onboarding 2 of them. The 2 firms are P.W. Grosser and Hardesty and Hanover. Having 2 of them ensures we don't run into a conflict of interest should one of the firms wind up representing a potential develop. Our Deputy Corporation Counsel Attorney Joe Lupo is here if you have any questions in regards.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to ask you right off the bat, maybe just explain the process a little bit in more detail, if you could.
Sure. So with certain large developments, such as, let's say like the Howell property, for example, such a big development or proposed development.
I think the mic might not be on.
Sorry. Such a large development or a proposed large development obviously is going to have an environmental impact. You know, is there enough water? Is there enough sewage? It could even, review traffic and how, such a large development's going to be impacted with excess traffic, et cetera.
Right.
So when that happens, we have to get an environmental impact statement by an environmental company. Currently, we're using Nelson Pope Voorhees. We've been using them for a long time. Their contract is expiring, and we also wanted to see what else was out there. So as Acting City Manager Phil Ragona said, we put out the RFP. We got 6 companies that responded. We went with H&H and P.W. Grosser. Grosser, excuse me. One thing that's important to note is this is cost neutral to the city. So if you're a developer and you put an application for one of these large-scale projects, what we do, the zoning board essentially takes a retainer, or the planning board now, will take a retainer, and that goes into what we call an imprest account. And then anytime, there are any costs incurred by our consultant, it's paid out of that account. And then if the funds run low, we ask for more money, because ultimately that's the precursor to then seeking either a variance from the zoning board or planning board approval.
Right, all right. Thank you. I just felt everybody, probably a lot of people in the crowd do understand that, but not everybody.
Sure.
And it is complicated, so thank you. Any questions? Any questions from the public or comments from the public on this? All right, good. We'll close that one too. Thank you, Joe.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the city manager and the city controller to transfer funds within the 24-25 budget.
Perfect timing.
This is a resolution that comes to the council every year around this time. It allows the city manager and our city comptroller, Ina Resnick, to transfer funds of more than $1,500 without council resolution as they work to clean up the budget at the end of the fiscal year. As we've done the last couple of years, the controller will provide our city council with a listing of transfers made. Our city comptroller, Ina Resnick, is here to field any additional questions.
We have questions?
Yes. Hi, Ina. Is there an upper limit to how much you can transfer?
Ina Resnick, City Controller. No, there is no upper limit.
And, the charter basically was put in there to limit it to these transfers without being voted on to $1,500. And I know we've gone through this over the years, and, and basically it's saying, well, I know you have some money left over, but you're asking us to vote on something where we don't know how much money you have left over. Now, you're very good about telling us afterwards, but why can't we be told beforehand?
Well, operationally, as all the budget lines are getting exhausted, for the departmental managers, it's becoming imperative to act, and waiting until the next city council meeting really interferes with the operations of the city. And like you mentioned yourself, you've seen all the reports in prior years. I don't believe that anyone took any exceptions to any of the transfers that were approved. We definitely exercise our judgment, and when we believe that the transfers are material enough to bring them to your attention in advance of the transfer, we definitely do that.
So
and I believe they're go ahead.
Do you say if we find it significant enough to bring to your attention, do you have a number?
I don't have a number per se, because it's both the amount and the percentage. So transfers only happen within the departmental budget. For example, if you have a department where, let's say, they have 3 salary lines, full-time, part-time, and overtime, and maybe they had a resignation or some sort of an attrition caused by anything, and department manager had to rely on part-time or overtime labor, we would allow a transfer from the full-time to fund overtime and part-time lines, because that's operationally justified, right? Sometimes there would be money left in supplies and materials, not enough in contractual expenses. So once this gets approved, if and when, a memo is sent out to all city departmental managers, and they are informed that now they can request those transferred, but transfers can only be made between the lines within those departments. Now, for the departments with larger budgets, the amount could be what we deem to be significant amount could be $30,000, and for a smaller department, it could be 10.
So how much did we transfer last year total?
I don't have that number for you, but again, we don't transfer between departments.
Yeah.
It's interdepartmental.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
John? So this is something that I typically vote no on each year, because I believe the city council is abdicating its fiscal oversight when it votes yes on this. But last year we kind of fixed that, and I voted yes, because we made an amendment that we would get reports every 2 weeks on the transfers that occurred, so we could monitor them, not in real time, but much nearer to when they're done. This year I noticed we wouldn't get anything until 2 months into the new fiscal year. Is there a reason we couldn't go back to 2-week reports on the transfers? Right now it says we would get a report of all the transfers on August 31st. So that's 2 months into the fiscal year. Last year we got them, like I said, every 2 weeks. Could we do every 2 weeks again? Because I think that would address concerns.
I don't think it means that you will get them on August 31st. It says that you will be getting them through August 31st.
No, that's not what it says.
Well,
It says
report of
shall
all
be
made,
furnished-
all the transfers made by August 31st. It doesn't mean that we're not going to start providing you with the reports as soon as those transfers will begin. Because transfers are made even after year end. So we're saying not only that we're going to do them through June 30th, we'll extend it by 2 months.
Okay, so
Okay.
how often would we be able to get reports
Usually
on-
we have we run accounts payable once a week, so I don't see any reason to have it more often than that. And then there are some weeks when
No,
we don't
that's fine. So if we get that, that just addresses my concern then.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Mike and Chris? Okay, questions, comments from the public? Okay, thank you very much, Ina. Appreciate your hard work.
Okay, item 8 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to increase the amount of a previously authorized purchase order.
So as many of you may know, the police department is in the midst of much-needed renovations. When the contractor got to the walls and ceilings and opened it up, it became clear to our contractor that the upgrades, additional upgrades were needed, including our electric and our HVAC systems, and there were other unanticipated elements. From an efficiency and cost standpoint, it makes sense to perform this work now while these utilities are exposed. I have Ken Arnold from Public Works and Commissioner De Palma here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll begin. This is a complicated situation. It's a continuation of work that was approved a couple of years ago and has been, as far as I know, let me ask you, when did the project begin?
This body approved the contract in January and it started soon thereafter.
Right. And we had a grant for a good portion of what was supposed to be done previously.
Yes, the Nassau County provided $355,000 for the construction and equipment that goes into the improvement.
Right. So, being that I've spoken to you about it previously, both of you, obviously, this is a very old building, and when you open it up, I guess more problems arise, and that's what happened in this situation. Is that like a simplistic way of saying this?
That, and in addition, there was additional work that we had anticipated doing under a separate contract, and then looking at the problems of the building today, it's cost effective on both a monetary value and to the operational aspect to the PD to do the work as a change order under this contract to complete the work as soon as possible.
Right. This is obviously going to, and we know how much more it's going to cost based on the resolution. If we waited to do this, would we somehow save money by waiting to do it, or just please explain?
So we looked at holding off on the HVAC portion of this work. We got solicitations from contractor. If we had bid this contract separately and the value of that work came in higher than we would achieve using the change order through the existing contract, a contract that's on the premises now.
Would you be willing to hazard, I don't want to call it a guess, but let's say a guesstimate about how much more it would cost if we put it off?
Putting it off, you're going to have a escalation of prices as time goes on. In addition, we were seeing, I believe it was a $50,000 increase in cost if we bid the job with the bid that we did look at. And then you also have the time cost of the inconvenience to the police department, because every time we do work in their building, they're relocating staff and resources that way, which is also not cost effective.
Right. So, Commissioner, would this, by putting this off, please explain to me, and probably to everybody else here, obviously, would this be a burden on the police department? Would it possibly affect operational success?
Absolutely, especially as we get closer to the summer, when we start making more arrests and have more activity. Right now, we're temporarily working out of the OEM center, right next door to us.
I noticed that.
Yeah, our dispatch is up there right now. It does create a lot of logistical problems with prisoners and walk-in reports and stuff like that. And as the summer comes in, when we get a lot busier, it will just create more problems. And we're looking to get this project done before the summer.
Okay. Do we have a question? Any other questions from the council?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay, this originally was a $484,000 job, and I believe we got $355,000 in grants.
That's correct, yeah.
So that left us about 133, something like that, out of taxpayer money.
Yes, sir.
Now, this additional $318,000 is coming out of taxpayer money.
Correct.
And when we originally put out the job, we, as I understand it, limited it because we didn't feel we could afford it. We could afford more. Is that correct?
We did limit the scope. However, there is more work that needed to be done.
There always is. Take a look at the window behind you.
This building is very old, and it was designed, yes.
The work will never
Yes.
stop.
Yeah,
And
it
so
never will.
basically, but the philosophy that we should fix everything now because in the future it's going to be more expensive. Could we afford that for this building?
Well, yes, this work will be more expensive in the future, but if we do put it off, we'll have to undo some of the work that we're doing now to get to the areas for the HVAC and electric.
Why
for instance.
then wasn't it part of the original RFP?
First, cost savings, I suppose. Yeah.
So we voted on something that we were spending $133,000 on, and now we're spending $448. Well, 451, I think.
Yeah, the new work is
Yeah.
318 plus.
Yeah, 318 plus the 133. It doesn't seem fair to me, to the taxpayers. And I understand once you open up something, yes, you can do additional work, and it does make sense. It does make sense. But it's at a certain point, and from what I understand, this has to be voted on today. This was not something that could be put off. I feel it's unfair to the taxpayers to suddenly hit them with something, well, we decided we needed additional, and if you don't do it now, it's going to affect the police department, and it's going to affect the safety of people and stuff like that. That to me sounds like poor planning, and not on, Rich, not on your part. I know it's probably not on anybody's part here, but it's the way the city tends to work. And we don't look at what we have to do ahead of time, and then we get stuck with, well, this has to be done now. And, we, as a council, really haven't had an opportunity to explore the additional work that is being done. I don't know, first of all, you're talking about electricity. To me, electricity is, the more electricity you need, the bigger wires you put in. It doesn't seem to be that expensive, but we're talking $200,000 just for the electricity and the air conditioner heads.
That's with the AC included. The electrical, this building was designed in 1960, around
I'm sorry,
65.
what?
The building's from about 65 years old, so the electric cannot, the load cannot, it's just today's standards, today's equipment.
But we knew that going in. We knew that when they gave us the RFP. I guess that's what bothers me. Listen, I understand the work. It's beneficial to get the work done now. It's beneficial anytime any contractor comes in to give them as much work as they can when they're opening up, walls and stuff like that. The question is that fair to the taxpayer? And that's what kind of bothers me on this particular thing. The taxpayers originally were told we're spending $133,000 on this. Now they're coming back and, we're spending almost $450,000 on that. And it has to be done because the wall's already been opened up.
Can I just interject something here?
Sure.
Neither of these two gentlemen were in charge of that at the time. So unfortunately, they're the messengers being chastised here. But
not chastising them.
Two different people put this together. I want to say that Ken Arnold is essentially brand new here, and I appreciate the work you've done so far. And Rich De Palma was installed as our police commissioner in January of '24. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying here, but I think that we're foisting on the people who really didn't do it. And not only that, I think it might have been in the capital budget.
The 133, yes. Not this, not the additional 318.
I think there was more in there for that, though.
Well,
Yeah, but I just wanted to put that out there, that
No, I'm
these
fully
guys
aware
are
of that.
these guys are the fall guys right now, but
It's not fall guys, it's a way of doing business that I'm objecting
Yeah,
to.
I agree with that.
It's a way of
I
doing
agree.
business where we are told this is going to cost something, and then we come back and we're told, you have to vote today for, to triple the
Right.
price. That's, in essence, tripling the price. And what I asked, and I asked this before, is there anything we can cut out of this $318,000? And I was told no, that there's nothing.
Okay.
That's where I have a problem.
All right.
No, we looked at that as the change order and reduced it as much as we could to still achieve the goal of renovating the space safely and properly for the equipment and the manpower.
But just out of curiosity, just on one thing, we're putting in bulletproof glass now. What changed?
We need it up here right in front here too.
Only in front of you.
Oh, I beg to differ.
We originally didn't spec out the bulletproof glass. That is
I'm
correct.
sorry,
We
what?
originally didn't spec out the bulletproof glass. That is correct. But we did have an incident with a bullet into the precinct, so that's why we were asking for that change.
You did not spec it out with bulletproof.
And initially, we did not, but we are requesting it now because we did have an incident a few years ago where a bullet went into the precinct.
And you know what, this quote was not broken down at all. How much was the bulletproof glass, for
It's
example?
1,000. It's on there. Yeah, about 16. Let me just
It's
find
not
it.
on what we got.
It's on
We got
the
upgrade
backup.
to dispatch center, 3,140, 50,000 PD design construction of communication, 25,000 police technology equipment upgrade, and then 240,613 building improvements. That's the only thing that we.
Bulletproof, it's $1,700 is the bulletproof glass.
Where's that? At the entrance, right? To replace what's there where the sergeant sits?
Correct.
Okay. All
No,
right. John, you have a
just
question?
Spoke to my piece.
Mike?
No, just it's also like when I redid my kitchen a few years ago, and they opened up the wall and they said, "Sorry, Mr. Reinhardt, it's double the price." Sometimes that happens, especially with older buildings. I get it, but the key point here for me was that the additions were going to be planned for next year's capital, and then a lot of the points that have been raised. Of course, there should have been possibly a more accurate bid, obviously. But the fact is that the additions were going to be in next year's capital plan, and now it just makes sense to do it because obviously we cannot risk the police being down for the summer or being in any way affected by this. So the fact that, it was going to be in the capital plan for next year, it's just one of those unfortunate things that we just have to do it now, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chris? Questions or comments from the public? All right, thank you. We'll close that.
Thank you.
Item 9,
I'm sorry, I have to say, I agree with quite a few things you say, Roy. I mean, the fiscal responsibility is certainly a key element here. Sorry, Dave.
that's okay. Item 9, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for sanitary sewer replacement at West Pine Street between Magnolia Boulevard and Laurelton Boulevard with the lowest responsible bidder.
So we had a sewer collapse that required repair on West Pine Street. We put it out to 5 firms. 5 firms actually submitted bids to do the repair work. United Paving Corporation was the lowest responsible bidder, and it also comes very highly recommended. Russell is here, or Ken is here, if there are any additional questions in regards to this project.
Okay.
Ken, this money is coming from sewer upgrades citywide. And that's from, I think, I can't quite read these, the numbers are the same, the last 5 numbers are the same, but then there's 3024 and 3025. Different years, was that it?
Yes.
So the 24 money was not spent. So,
Correct. It was carried over to the following year.
so when we budgeted, correct me if I'm wrong, did we budget an extra 367,000?
No, and I'm looking at that right now as I put together the capital plan. When we budget for the new year, we look at the carryover and adjust the new year accordingly. So, but we always need contingency money for sewer, roadways. There's a different capital project. We want to make sure we always have money available. So we make an assumption what that value is, and we make sure we have that in our capital plan. at
So
all
is
times.
this contingency money? Or was it set for a particular project?
I'd have to go back and double check because I was not here when this number was developed. But in the upcoming capital plan, what we will put together is work that is planned to do, and then there'll be contingency money in addition to that number. That's where that number will come
And
from.
how much do we usually put on sewer contingency?
I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll have,
And when do we expect Nassau to take over?
I believe right now the date is the end of 26, early 27. And the next step of work, when I just left the county, was that the county's going to be doing an assessment of the collection system in anticipation of that.
The collection system,
Yep.
not the internal?
No, the plant is, that's the pump station, but the collection system is.
But not the infrastructure.
Right.
And the infrastructure is where we're spending most of our money, you know, with the collapses and the digester
Right.
roof and stuff
When
like that.
when those
I mean,
things
we're spending millions of dollars on that.
We hopefully won't see any issues with that until the closure of the plant.
And how complicated would it be for us to be able to put in sewer pipes as a city, rather than having to constantly bring in people to do it?
Our staff does do this work, but the exception of this project is the depth of this pipe. So it's beyond what our guys would be capable of doing. We do sewer pipe. We did one recently as early as a month ago, but it was, our guys, a shallower pipe, no dewatering, no sheeting is is our sweet spot. Once we get into dewatering and sheeting, then we would look for a contract.
Is it because of lack of equipment or lack of
Expertise, equipment.
expertise?
Both. It's more complicated and it's a little more dangerous work, so.
Okay, now, these pipes, we haven't lined any of these pipes. How many, just out of curiosity, how many miles of sewer pipes do we have?
How much? That's Blaine miles of road, right? The same number? 55.
And it costs us about $1,000 a foot for each.
That's
anytime we
not a bad
replace.
number.
Could I just add, how extensive a project are you talking about?
Well, I'm just curious why, you know,
So-
what I would love to see is if we lined our pipes.
Right, so
but because Nassau's coming in,
All right,
it's not, you know,
So in the
that's
case
why
of.
I'm asking that.
yeah.
So in the case of this issue, my experience is when you line a pipe, the pipe can't be in failure mode.
What?
Like when you line a pipe, it can't be already failing. Because once it's failing, when you start cleaning the pipe to line it, it collapses further. I had many issues in the county with this issue where we wanted to line a pipe, we ended up replacing the pipe. Because every time you got ready to line a section, it failed on you because you have to clean it out first.
So our lining, I mean, that was one of the things that we were going to start doing, you know, we've been lining pipes. You're
Yes.
saying that's not a good idea?
When you're doing it before you're in failure mode, right? So if you have you have to evaluate the pipe and see what it's past its useful life, it's going to fail at some future point, but it's not currently failing. That's the difference.
Right.
When
Well,
it's already
once it,
collapsed.
once it fails, you can't put the lining
Right.
in. I understand that.
Yeah.
But how long would you say a pipe's life is extended by the lining?
A minimum, at least 20 years, if not 30.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, Chris? John? Questions from the public or comments?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Okay,
Mr. Sourcewell?
on to the voting.
So we'll close that and,
Yep.
did we
Okay.
get to the end of the program?
So, yep, that's it. That's it.
Wow.
On to the voting
So
portion.
fast.
Okay, so item 1 is a resolution declaring temporary moratorium on the establishment of battery energy storage systems in the city of Long Beach. Will introduce and move the adoption of this item.
I will.
I
Second?
will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
I think this is a great start. Perhaps we can take it to the next level, where somehow we can prevent it in perpetuity from happening, something like this, of course, yes.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase various T-shirts and athletic apparel with imprints from the lowest responsible bidders. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
What happened to block voting?
Do you want to do that?
Okay,
I'll second it.
Second? You do the rest of the items if you want. Okay. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing publication of the general summary of the capital improvement program for the next 5 years and authorizing publication of the general summary of the proposed budget for the year July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and notice of public hearings thereon. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
Second.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an amended, restated agreement with Passport Labs Incorporated. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter agreements for seeker consulting services with the most responsible proposers. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the city manager and the city controller to transfer funds within the 24-25 budget. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I'll second it.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
I can't really vote for something that goes against the charter. It just doesn't make sense to me. We have the charter there for a reason. I vote no on that.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 8 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to increase the amount of a previously authorized purchase order. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
Second? Thank you. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Again, I think this is something that's really being unfair to the taxpayers. I'm voting no.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
The fact that it's going to be it was going to be in the capital budget next year anyway. Yes, it could have been done better in the beginning, but it's more cost effective to do it now. So yes.
Vice President Fiamara.
Yes.
President Finn.
I'd like to say that this is a balance between efficiency and, of course, cost. And I agree with Roy about the taxpayers. You know, it's our job to look out for the taxpayers, and we are taxpayers as well. With that said, this is a project that's been ongoing. So it didn't start this year. And I think it's important that we look out for the taxpayers even further. where it would be a much more expensive job if we put it off. So I think looking out for the taxpayers in that respect is doing it now rather than doing it later. And as Mike just said, it's going to be, it was in the capital budget, so of course I'm voting yes in favor of it.
Item 9 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for sanitary sewer replacement at West Pine Street between Magnolia Boulevard and Laurelton Boulevard with the lowest responsible bidder. Who introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Who make a motion to close the meeting?
I will.
I'll second it.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Okay.
And now for the moment we've been waiting for. All right, thank you. Judy Moran? Great.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. I am here to talk about the noise in our precious city, especially the growing noise in the neighborhood considered the West End. As you can see, I've done a little research on the effects of noise on the human body. There's a lot of information there, but I promise you it's an easy read. I found this information both fascinating but mostly disturbing. Harvard Medical School has stated that noise pollution is not only a nuisance, but a major health risk. It not only causes hearing loss, and once your hearing is gone, it's gone, but elevated blood pressure, increased heart rate, labored breathing, increase in drug use, decrease in performance and learning for our children. Studies have also found that loud noise can lead to dementia. We lose our quality of sleep when noise is present, and don't think you can tune it out by sleeping. Your body is still feeling its effects. This city does have quite an extensive code mandate for noise and its vibrations. And vibration, very important because we live on a sandbar, all in an effort to protect its citizens. But I have witnessed children playing in our parks at the same time being subject to loud outside music from amplifiers that I am sure go over the safety decibel levels. The average concert is what, 2 to 3 hours, right? Well, outside music in the West End where I live can start on any given weekend at 2 p.m. and continue to 9 p.m. There is no peace, because then it turns into DJs with pounding music till 4 a.m. The police can't do anything about the pounding that I feel in my house. They said it has to be noise, but again, we are on a sandbar. It is here that I am asking the city and this council to tighten its noise ordinance by not allowing outside speakers for music, only allowing acoustic instruments. That is sticking with the city code. Acoustic meaning no plugged-in music, no mic'd drums, and no drums outside. And in an effort to protect each other, I am asking for the city to require that each restaurant have a decibel display meter installed and visible so we all can be aware of the level of noise. In closing, I read this quote in the Herald dated August 1994 from the then City Council President and former Police Commissioner Edmund Buscemi. I enjoy a good quality of life, and I want to keep it that way for everyone. I hope my present city council feels the same way. Here's the decibel meter that I am suggesting. It's only $64, and it will tell their customers how dangerous the music or the sound decibels are in each place. If you go over to Docks in Island Park, they've been mandated by Nassau County to use this decibel level meter.
Thank you very much, and I agree with you. We have quality of life is extremely important all over town. You know, the West
Well, I
End
hope it
included.
doesn't go on deaf ears. No pun intended.
I'm not going to say what. Thank you very much. At Docks, they use this. Yeah, thank you. Danielle DiPaolo? Danielle, I'm sorry, Danielle.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm here on behalf of the residents of Shore Road. I had spoken once before about the illegal curb cut that is out front of 643 Shore Road, owned by Musta Shokran. So it's been since March 5th. I have two pictures. This is when it was first created, illegally poured. As of March 20th, it was spray painted no parking in neon pink. Not quite sure if neon pink is a spray painting color that the city uses, but nonetheless, it was spray painted no parking. The spray paint has been removed, and I guess it's been power washed. Not quite sure if it was from sanitation that did it, but aesthetically it looks a lot nicer. It's been a total of 5 weeks, so we don't know, as far as the residents of Shore Road, when that will be removed. So there was talks, I'm assuming from the Buildings Department, but there has been no progress. There's been people that are parking in front of that area that needs to be, broken down and removed. So just curious to know where it's at, like an update.
Hey, Danielle. So I've been involved in this for the last couple of weeks, and I didn't realize that the curb cutout was not reduced. I'll get in touch with the building department tomorrow. They're aware of it. They absolutely served a notice of violation to the building owner, and they were scheduled to change it. So I'll reach out tomorrow morning to act on it.
When you say change it, in
to
fact...
reduce it back to what it should be.
Oh, okay, so no driveway for a driveway that doesn't exist.
Correct, and that's
Okay.
what they issued the violation for.
Thank you so much.
Let me ask a question about that picture. It looks like the wall is in the middle of the driveway. Is
There's
that-
no driveway.
Oh, there's no driveway.
There's actually no driveway. That is where residents enter the building and
Right.
leave the building.
So why would they even build that?
Because Shokran does what Shokran does when he wants to do it. So that's why. It's something that I would love maybe you to get a meeting with him. That would be wonderful.
Oh, you don't have to talk to
Yeah.
me about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
I'll reach out to you tomorrow after I
Thank
speak
you
to
You
very
can
much.
always talk to me about that. I don't mean it that way. Peggy Butts?
Peggy Butts, 630 Shore Road.
How are you?
Hello again. Just to reiterate on, more of the same, I'm glad to hear about the delay in regards to the first agenda. However, the concern that I have when I spoke about it before is the fact that when we delay things for, even if it's a year or whatever else may be, if we're not going to talk about it again until the year comes up, you start doing things reactively and you do things in an urgency. It may cost more money and then it causes a rush of a plan. So with that being said, whatever's going to happen with Agenda 1 is great, I guess, but hopefully we start making plans instead of kicking the can down the road, because like anything else, everything needs to be repaired, and I'm sure a lot of people, taxpayers, need to replace things in their home too and can't do it all at once, and you have to figure out what you can change at certain times. So hopefully, even with this building here, things can be changed as we go along instead of hitting people with a big ticket item later on because the roof was coming down. But that was not the question. The question I had was more of about the parking. I have gone up and down Park Avenue to certain businesses because the last time I was here to discuss parking, and I know that there is a parking assessment that's going to take place, which I'm not too happy about because I know we had a parking assessment before when we were talking about putting in meters. We have the same amount of parking spaces, if not maybe give or take a little less or more. We already know how many tickets you are selling, beach passes to the non-residents that are coming into town during the summer months. So I don't understand the need for a whole nother assessment again, just to give money, even if it's allotted, just to have them come out and tell people that this is the space that you have that we can't do anything about. But when speaking to other merchants in town in the business district, which seem to get hit the most, especially during the daytime hours, not so much the restaurants that are opening in the evenings, but we get hit with running outside to move our cars around. So when speaking to them, I said, well, would you be okay with paying for a permit or a flow app, that we can download and say we can park on the boulevards on the side streets, leaving the front Park Avenue for the clientele to park their cars, because that's the main concern, is the fact that we're parking in front of our businesses. A lot of us don't want to walk around 2 blocks if we don't have to, but if we can find a space along the boulevards instead, then maybe at least we have somewhere for employee parking, and then we can leave the Park Avenue for people coming back and forth. So that's just a suggestion, but you asked me for one last time I spoke to you about it. So that was my idea.
Right. Exactly. So we do have a parking commission and looking into this stuff. So, I mean, that's certainly that would be
I
passed
understand,
on.
but it's been looking into it for years. It's been a
They're
talk
new.
for a
It's
meter
new-
and
it's a
everything
new
at one
commission,
point.
right?
Huh?
It's a new commission, a new one.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So thank you very much for that. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Mindy Dovberg. What's the water temperature like, Mindy, these days?
Cold.
38? 48. All right.
Cold.
Only 20 more degrees I can go in.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, gentlemen. Mindy Dovberg. I haven't been here like 3 times, so I just am following up with the beach. I want to talk to you guys about the ticket booths because I witnessed a traffic jam the other morning on Washington, and it's just, the ticket booths where they are is going to bottleneck with, I don't know how you're going to have people waiting online getting tickets, and then mothers with their strollers, and then the guys with their long surfboard carrying thing, whatever that thing's called. I just don't see how this is going to work.
Well,
Was there
there was
talk
nobody even in the
about it? Was
booth.
there planning? I just think I understand why you guys wanted to move it. I just think it's not the right spot. And why did you close the steps? Then everyone has to go through that little narrow
On
area.
Washington.
Isn't it on every block that you guys close the steps?
Yeah.
Right.
But you're saying the problem's on Washington.
No, I just witnessed it on Washington, and that was just because it was a sunny, beautiful Saturday, and there were a
Right.
lot of people there. I
Yeah.
mean, this just wasn't summer season, so
And there was nobody in the booth, and there was a log jam.
it's, no.
No, I'm saying there was nobody in the booth.
There
and
was nobody in the booth, but there were a lot of people
Yes, right.
trying to get through, and all I could imagine,
Right. What it's going to be
Saturday
like.
and Sunday in the summer, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's not something you can answer right now. I didn't know if someone's been
I
talking
mean,
about it, where
yeah.
it came from, why you guys moved them.
Well, we moved them for a number of reasons, but efficiency and, shall we say, control.
Compliance.
Right?
Yes.
And obviously, if it becomes a real problem, we're going to have to move them again. But I think we should give it a chance to see if it's viable and feasible and efficient. And if it's not, then we'll have to make some changes. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Right? Wouldn't you do that?
I don't know. I feel like if you ask the majority of the people, even in this room or online or wherever, I think they would all agree they're going to see there's going to be traffic jams. we're going to be dealing with people jam. I don't want to call it traffic jam. It's a people
There
bottlenecking.
there may be, but I think that hopefully we'll be able to navigate that as it happens, you know? I
Okay.
mean, obviously, there's always a rush on a big, beautiful first day, if there is, but otherwise, I think we could tweak this as we go along.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I said my piece. Thank
Yeah,
you. I appreciate it.
you're,
I agree. I agree with you. You can't really speculate. It's April. What's going to happen
Yeah.
in June and July? But I just.
Yeah,
I
your
just-
input is well taken.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yeah,
thank you very
Brendan,
much.
if I could just
Yeah,
say
yeah,
something
Mike.
too. Totally, thank you for the input, for sure. It's one of those things, the beach has been operating at a deficit for years and years. So if you don't try something, then we're just destined to repeat the same story.
Exactly.
So it's just something that we're going to try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all for trying. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. Nora Egan? That's it.
Nora Egan, Long Beach.
Hi.
I haven't been here
How are
for.
you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Good.
Good. I haven't been here for a few weeks, but.
And
the-
your absence has been duly noted.
Oh, thank you. The bathrooms, the ADA buttons don't work, and it's a bit uncomfortable when you have people using the restrooms, and you know you can
Up here.
Here.
Yeah,
here.
right.
So I think maybe I was here in a March meeting, an early March meeting, so it's still broke
Uh-huh.
So-
On the ladies, obviously, and
on the men's as
on
well.
the men's.
The one, yeah,
Both.
both. The button in the hallway.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get on it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our show for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. Appreciate it. Democracy at work in Long Beach. Please arrive home safely, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.